If you constantly feel like you have to explain who you are just to be accepted, or maybe you walk away from conversations thinking, why don't people understand me? This video is for you. Hi, I'm Shelly Escobar, and this is Shell's Inspiring Journey, where faith meets real life, and I talk about what it's like to live every day out as a Christian. So, being misunderstood is probably one of the most confusing and exhausting feelings a person can experience because it makes you question everything. It makes you question what you said, how you said it, who you are, and sometimes it may even have you questioning your worth. I remember for most of my life feeling like I just didn't quite fit, and sometimes I still feel like that. I wanted to connect with people. I wanted to make friends. I wanted to feel understood. But somehow I always felt like I was missing something. Like everyone else had this unspoken way or secret of communicating, and I just didn't have that same manual. I wanted the rule book, and I read a lot of books. So I did what a lot of us do. I tried harder. I would watch how people interact. I adjusted how I spoke. I replayed conversations over and over again in my mind. I became hyper aware of how I was coming across, constantly trying to make sure I was understood, constantly trying to get it right, making adjustments. But no matter how much effort I put in, there was still an underlying feeling of being misunderstood. I even made a joke one time and said if I ever got a yacht, I would put misunderstood. That would be the name. The hardest part, though, was I didn't know why. It wasn't until I was 49 years old that I was diagnosed with level 1 autism, what used to be known as Asperger syndrome. And in that moment, my whole life made sense. All those years of feeling different, processing things differently, communicating in ways that didn't always land the way I intended, it finally had context. But here's the thing I realized that changed absolutely everything for me. Even though my brain is wired differently, the pain of being misunderstood is not unique to autism. It's human. There are so many people walking around feeling unseen, unheard, misunderstood. And it creates this deep internal struggle because when you're misunderstood enough times, you start trying to earn understanding. You start over-explaining yourself, defending your intentions. You start shrinking parts of who you are just to be easier for other people to receive and accept. But here's the truth. Not everyone is trying to understand you. And that's where we have to shift our perspective. Because the Bible actually speaks to this in a very powerful way. In 1 Samuel 16:7, it says, "People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." And that hit me so deeply. Because people will misunderstand what they can only see on the surface. They'll interpret your words through their own experiences, their own wounds, their own perceptions and pain. But God sees your heart. He knows your intention, even when others don't. And when your anchor is in that truth, you stop trying to prove yourself to people who were never looking to understand you in the first place. Even Jesus was misunderstood. So think about that. He spoke truth. He moved with love. He definitely had pure intentions, and people still twisted his words, questioned him, and misjudged him. So if Jesus was misunderstood, why would we ever expect to always be understood? That realization alone can set you free because it shifts your focus from, why don't they understand me, to, am I aligned with truth? So there's also a scripture in Galatians 1:10 that says, Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. That one will check your heart real quick, because when we are constantly explaining ourselves, sometimes it's not just about being understood. Sometimes it's about wanting approval, wanting validation, wanting to feel accepted. But living that way is exhausting, trust me. And it will keep you stuck in a cycle of over-explaining, overthinking, over-adjusting yourself. In the autistic world, we call it masking. And at some point, you have to decide, am I going to keep trying to be understood by everyone, or am I just going to be rooted in who God created me to be? Because here's the truth, and I'm going to break it down. The right people will not require constant explanation. They will feel your heart. They will recognize your intentions. They will see you for who you are and extend grace where others assume the worst. And the wrong people, let me tell you, you can explain yourself perfectly and they will still choose to misunderstand you. Not because you have failed, but because they were never listening with an open heart. And when you finally accept that, something shifts inside of you. You stop performing for acceptance. You'll stop chasing clarity from people who don't even value your perspective. You'll stop shrinking yourself to fit into these little spaces that were never even meant for you. And instead, you'll start protecting your peace by just being yourself. You'll start honoring how God actually made you. You start standing in truth, even if it means not everyone's gonna like you. Your worth is not found in being understood by everyone or liked by everyone. It's found in being known and liked by God and walking in alignment with who He created you to be. So, if you've been carrying the weight of constantly trying to explain yourself, let this be your permission to just lay that down. You don't have to earn anybody's understanding. You don't have to prove your heart. God already sees it. And the right people, they will too. Thank you for listening. I hope you like this video. I'd love to hear your stories and comments below. Do you feel this way? I'm sure I'm not the only one. And if you think that this video is helpful, maybe you should send it to somebody that might need it. I appreciate all of the interaction, and I will get back to all of your comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a great night.